Okay. Who would like to go first?
I can go first, I guess. All
Hey, go ahead, Landon.
right, so I'm not exactly sure how to do this. So I decided to screen share a PowerPoint. Hopefully that works. Let me know if you guys can see it.
Oh, very nice.
All right, so this is my accountability project. Um, my goal was, uh, my overall goal was to become spiritually self-reliant, and that stemmed from President Monson's talk that he gave in this last general conference where he talked about gaining a testimony of the Book of Mormon. Because the testimony, if you're relying on the testimony of others, it'll only take you so far. And I feel like I have a testimony, but I feel like a lot of it kind of relies on those around me, and I feel like I get a lot of strength from people around me, which is good. But I wanted to just be a little more um, self-reliant with my testimony, and then as well, I wanted to do a little bit better physically with exercising and eating healthier. So those are my goals. So I split it up into daily goals, weekly goals, and monthly goals. So my daily goals were to exercise for 30 minutes each day, read my scriptures for 15 minutes. Then I had two personal goals, and then to check my partner's goals each day. And then for the exercising 30 minutes, Sunday and Saturday were excluded, so it was just Monday through Friday for that. Um, and then my weekly goals were to call my parents. So I'm in Florida and they're in Idaho. So I just wanted to have better communication with them. And then perform some kind of service for someone each week. And then to take my wife out on a date each week was one of my weekly goals. And then my monthly goals, I had one personal goal. And then the other one was to make sure I did my home teaching every month. So that's just an outline of my goals. So then my repercussions if I failed to do my goals um, was to refrain from television for 2 days or 48 hours. And I chose that because not because it's a huge sacrifice to give up TV, but I felt like TV was the thing that was keeping me from doing my goals, if that makes sense. It was like instead of reading my scriptures, I was watching TV, or instead of calling my parents, I was watching TV. That's why I chose um, to refrain from that because I felt like it'd make me a little more productive. This is I didn't do a screenshot of my entire goal tracking just because, like you guys had said, it would take up a lot of space. But I just kind of gave you a rough estimate of how I kept track of my goals. I had my daily goals, my weekly goals, and my monthly goals here, and then I just marked whether I did it or not. And then overall, I had 8 no's where I failed to meet my goals. And if I would have followed very strictly with my plan, that would have meant that I went 16 days without TV, but I only went 10, which was still really good for me. But I wasn't able to um, fully follow the goals that I had set for myself, and I think a lot of it came from accountability. So, like my wife kept me accountable, but she works nights, and so when she was gone working and like I had the evening to myself, it was a little harder to be accountable to myself, which is why I kind of failed. And then one of my accountability partners dropped the class, so then I only had one accountability partner. So that not putting blame on anyone else, this was totally my fault, but so I wasn't able to be fully accountable to myself, I guess. And then my effort on a scale of 1 to 10, it asked us to discuss. It went back and forth. I think some days I was really into it. And other days I was focused on other things, but I think it varied between 7 or 8. I think I still had a lot of room for improvement to truly be accountable to myself. I think my goals were good and I had a desire to do it, but um, I wasn't completely 100% committed to everything. Um, and then, so in the future, I think is in terms of accountability, I think the more people you have to be accountable to, the more likely you are to achieve it. Especially being accountable to yourself. Um, and that's something I can work on for sure. Is being accountable to myself, and choosing goals that I really want. And then just if people aren't holding you accountable, ask them again, to hold you accountable. I think that's something I definitely could have worked on, in terms of my accountability partners, was asking them specifically, are you checking my goals and what can I do to be better? Because I think we kind of got lost and weren't really holding each other accountable. But overall, I think the greatest lesson I learned from this accountability project was choose goals that you can really accomplish, things that are simple but will have an impact on yourself, and things that you actually desire to do, um, things that you're willing to do, and then just making sure people hold you accountable and giving yourself, just as the project outline, repercussions if you don't hold yourself accountable, and if you don't complete your goals. If you follow those things, you'll do pretty well. I think, although I wasn't perfect in this accountability project, it was definitely um, one of my better goal setting projects that I've had in my life, in terms of following with it and sticking to it, and really noticing results. So that's my project. Stop sharing my screen.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sounds like you did well and you learned some things, so that's good. Who wants to go next? Hi, Reese, by the way. Can you hear us?
Hi.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm happy to go next.
Okay.
I didn't do anything cool like Landon and share the screen, but I'm just going to talk. So, I first decided that I wanted to, my main goal wasn't necessarily the goals that I had, but more to learn to follow through with my commitments no matter what. Because I do a pretty good job of following through with commitments that I have to others, but the ones that I make to myself are just kind of, they're the first ones to go, it seems like. So that's really what I wanted to get out of this. So I knew that if I can keep my commitments, then I will be a better mother. I'll be more successful in my business, and most importantly, I will be someone that the Lord can trust to do His work. So I chose kind of simple goals. The first one, I wanted to track my eating and stay within range, and I have an app on my phone that I do this. And it's pretty simple, but I wanted to make sure that I did it. I wanted to do 300 kettlebell swings every single day, except for Sundays. I wanted to read my scriptures every day and write. I belong to a texting group, so make sure I write my texting group every single day. I wanted to check my partner's progress twice a week, and I wanted to work on my business for at least 5 hours a week. So those were my goals. I started out super strong. I did it really, really well, and then it got pretty hard as the semester went, and especially when school got out and my kids were all home. But I was able to stick with it and really do it. There was times that it was 11 o'clock at night and I was doing my kettlebell swings, which was not ideal, but I did do it. I had one time that I didn't get my 5 hours of business in. It was it was just a traveling week, so that was hard. I kind of set simple goals that I was already kind of doing, but just not as rigorous as I wanted. So, so what I accomplished was that I can do hard things. This was a really rough semester for me. I took 4 classes. I have a business. I have 5 kids, and it was a little too much, honestly. And yet, I taught myself that I could, because the first things to go is exercise, and anything to do with myself usually goes when I get that busy. And I taught myself that I can do it. And maybe I didn't read my scriptures as long as what would have been ideal, or I um but I did. I had to be really creative with my business. Sometimes it was, you know, doing business meetings on the phone while I'm driving kids places or something, but somehow it worked. So I still have a ways to go, but that was the big takeaway for me. In the future, I just want to keep my goals and add to them, but I don't want to add too many. That's the one thing I've learned in my life, is that just slow and steady wins the race, like the little turtle and tortoise, I guess. Um, so continue to grow and move forward. And the biggest part is tracking. If I don't track, then it's too easy to have excuses. If I actually have to write it down, yes, no, I did this, I didn't do this, then I tend to do way better. So I want to find an app that I can track on my phone. My goals on my phone. I'm sure there's a million out there. So anyway, so that is my project, kind of summing it up. So there you go.
Do you own your own business?
I do. I I have an online retail business, so
Okay.
yeah.
What kind of stuff do you sell?
I have a variety of stuff. I I buy products. I find really good things that I want to sell, and I get them manufactured, usually overseas, and then get them shipped here and sell them. And yeah, it's going
Oh,
really
cool.
well.
Wow.
Cool. Thanks for sharing your project with us.
Anybody want to go next?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
So I didn't make anything cool either because I don't know how to do that. This is my first semester using this program anyway. But I had decided that I wanted to lose some weight and become healthier overall and change my eating habits and things like that. And I also wanted to increase my temple attendance to help me spiritually and to just learn and grow in that way as well. And I more than doubled the number of times I've been. That was good. And I've gotten to walk around the temple grounds a couple times this semester as well. And I actually got to go clean it too. That was a new experience. That was really cool. For the weight loss, I joined the Fit for Life program on campus, which was really cool. We had weekly nutrition assessments, which helped, and they taught me a lot about nutrition and the practical applications of different things that I learned when I took the class a couple years ago. And I got to go to the gym a couple times a week. Not quite as much as I'd like, but it was enough to get me started, and particularly started in running because that's something I've always wanted to be able to do, but never really been able to. And so I had put a specific number on mine, and I said 20, and I lost 21 pounds this semester. So I'm pretty happy with it.
Wow.
Yeah. That was basically my project.
Well, that's really awesome that you had such an outcome. That's really great.
Yeah, it's really good.
All right, Reese, I guess you're on.
Okay. So I kind of wanted to have kind of a balance, just to be well-rounded in my health and things. And so I had a physical, spiritual, and a relationship goal. So I planned to exercise 25 minutes every day for 5 days a week. I would check my partner's goals 5 days a week. Then once a week, I'd take my wife on a date, and then twice a month, I would attend the temple. If I didn't reach my goal, then I would, for the day or whatever, then the consequence would be that I wake up at 5 a.m. If I didn't reach the goal. So at the start of the project, I had 2 partners, but they both dropped the class. And so it took me a long time to find new partners. And I just ended up finding one. Then there were a few days when I didn't check my partner's goal, and so I had to wake up at 5 a.m. to make up for those, and then it was only one day that I wasn't able to exercise. So I was able to exercise pretty much every day, and then for the dates and for the temple, I was able to reach those goals. Yeah, I felt really good about my goals, and I was able to complete them, and I think that these goals helped me in school too, being able to exercise, attend the temple, and have some fun with my wife. It's helped me to also do well in school. I did very well this semester, and I guess in the future, I would set some goals for academic success, or maybe some more relationship goals of things I should improve to be like a better husband. I think I would set some goals like that. I feel that I did like a 10, scale of 1 to 10. I think I did a 10 because I met all my goals, and there's only 3 times when I didn't, and I woke up at 5 to make up for that. So I'm glad that I had some goals to keep me focused on, and that they were goals that helped me be well-rounded. Yeah. So.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's mine.
Awesome. Thank you,
Good
Reed.
job.
Sounds like you did great.
Thanks.
So, I guess this is all. You guys are awesome. Thanks for being a great group. I don't know. Just you 2 guys that are married. I've been married 19 years. Keep up with the weekly dates. That is seriously the best thing especially when you have kids and stuff. It's so important. Anyway, just a little side note.
Landon, what were your goals? I came in a little late.
My goals were focused on both spiritual and physical, kind of like yours. I had to read my scriptures 15 minutes every day, to exercise 30 minutes every day, and then I had weekly goals and monthly goals. So my weekly goals were take my wife out on a date, call my parents, and then I had a personal goal. And then I had, for my monthly goals, I had to complete my home teaching, and then another personal goal. So those were the things that I worked on.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
All right. Well,
Well,
go ahead and
thank you guys.
stop the broadcast.